Hey guys, welcome back to another Q&A. I hope you don't mind me doing my Q&A from the car today. I actually was lucky enough to get out of a training on time, well not on time, but early. So I'll be able to beat the traffic home, and actually that means I have time to stop at one thrift store that is just down the street. And last time I went there, my phone was dying on me, so I could not scan everything that I wanted to scan. And we are in a pretty affluent side of Houston. So, and I have gone to that little charity shop before, and they have actually several times before, but I didn't recognize it last time I went. And I brought you the ride along from there where they had the little Santa section, and they had that really cute, what was it, a stocking with the dog bone on it. It was so cute. But anyway, I want to go back there because now I have a juiced up phone and I'm going to really take advantage of it. And I got out 1 hour early from this training, and I'm super excited about that. Is there anything better than getting out early from a training when you've been sitting there for 8 hours watching PowerPoints? And well, no, we did a lot more than that, but still, it's very tiring. So I'm going to go right into the Q&A. I wrote down the questions. Some of them I pulled from my other videos because people ask me questions on the other videos, and that's perfectly fine. I just want you guys to comment and really interact in the other videos as well, so that's always welcome. And then I'm going to go into the ones that were done in the Q&A. And please, if you have any more questions I can about reselling, items that I source, and where I source and whatnot, so please feel free to ask me any kinds of questions. On to the Q&A, guys. I want to thank Miss Catherine Nodden. She gave a really good tip that I had heard before, but I had never tried it, and it worked. I mentioned to you guys, I sold a Louis Vuitton. I don't know how or why she said there was an ink stain on it, and I don't carry loose pens, and I went into that last time. But anyway, when I got it, the ink stain was pretty obvious, so I don't know how I didn't see it, but I mean, it wasn't a stain, it was just a little line. Anyway, the hairspray worked like a charm. I can't thank you enough. The bag is beautiful. It is up for sale on eBay. I have also put it on. It is up for sale on Poshmark and on eBay. And it is still in absolutely great condition. The only thing that was missing was the little pochette that goes with it. That's why I'm discounting it so much, because it's a pretty expensive bag. I think it's about a $1,200 bag, and I'm selling it for $495 or somewhere around there. But anyway, it worked like a charm. I can't thank you enough. I didn't use the other tip from Miss Judy Chapman. She said also alcohol works really well, but I didn't have any alcohol, so I had just bought some hairspray when I remembered, and the bag came back, and I treated it, and it's just gone. It's beautiful. So anyway, that was some tips that were left, and that's another thing I want you to feel free to answer. If somebody has a question and you want to join in, there's nothing more that I would appreciate than that. Please, if you have a better answer than I do, by all means do so. Anyway, on Bonanza, I got a question. I think this was in a private message about Bonanza and selling on there. I have not sold on Bonanza, but I know a lot of people do, and I'm definitely going to look into it and see, what that entails. I have heard really good things about it. I've heard there are over 50,000 users, and that people are praising it. So we'll see. But if you know anything about it, please let me know. That'd be wonderful to find out more. I think I follow some people here on YouTube who have talked about selling fairly well on there. So I'm definitely going to look into it. Another interesting question I got was from, I think it's Debbie Martin. Miss Martin asked me about, what do I think about the fact that they get things donated to them, and that they are sometimes selective about the things that they put on the floor versus what they can put up on eBay and make a profit and then just leave mostly mediocre things on the floor. I don't know. I think those kinds of places quickly learn that we're not going to buy a bunch of junk. I really think they learn to balance that, and I don't know, I just really think that I don't really hold it against them, because when I first started selling on eBay, I found a lot of things, not to resell, though I really could have, because I saw some bargains on the Goodwill sites. I think I got some out of California, San Francisco. They have their online stores on eBay, and I find really nice things there, and very easily I could flip them. Actually, I did resell a beautiful turquoise ring, and I showed it to you in a collection, now that I think about it. I sniped that ring in the middle of the night for barely $35, and I believe I got close to $100 for it. But it was gorgeous. It looked like a Fabergé egg or a globe, and that's how I showed it to you in a collection of rings that I have, my big rings. And I sold that not too long ago, and I sold it because I've lost weight and my rings are big. Some of my jewelry has gotten big on me, and whenever that happens, I tend to sell it because I hate getting them sized down, and I hardly ever get them sized up. They never come back the same. I hate losing the content, the value of the sterling or the value of the gold when you cut them down. So I went ahead and sold it, and that's what I did with that ring. So that is one thing I did get from the Goodwill store right there on eBay. And so no, I don't really hold it against them too much. She mentioned something about a Burberry coat going for auction versus putting, you know, junk on the floor for everyone else to take. But I don't know. I just don't feel. I really feel like they have bills to pay too, and I feel like the Goodwill has bills to pay as well. They have employees to pay. They are not all volunteers at some of the charity shops. They do pay their managers and their CEOs and whatnot. And I don't know. I'm not one to judge about who's worthy of what value of work. To me, I think you know, I think a welder deserves $25 an hour, and if somebody else works, you know, at a desk and uses their mind and uses their mind all day, they may be worth $25 an hour too. I mean, that's for somebody else to determine. It's really not for me to determine as far as value. I'm rambling, but yeah, I think people do have to get paid, and the brick and mortar stores do have to stay maintained. So I'm not too upset about it. I tell you what does upset me is when I see a whole bunch of display cases and jewelry holders, or like I collect hands, and every time I see a porcelain hand or glass hands, they're never for sale, and that really upsets me. A few times I've been able to buy some, or even mannequins. I've been able to buy 2 or 3 mannequins that they had a price on them, and they sold. Never buy a display case or a baker's rack or anything like that. At one particular store, they always use them, and to the point of where, you know, you could probably make more money. You could have probably already made more money selling that cabinet than all the little bric-a-brac you have sitting on it for 50 cents. But, you know, I'm not the manager, right? So yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about that. I really don't hold it against them too much. If they want to choose a valuable item, if they can recognize the valuable item, like a Burberry coat or whatnot, and sell it for a little more in an auction, I say, why not? I said, you know, I really think that's not a bad thing, because things still trickle through the cracks. I remember not too long ago, somebody told me that NAM, and I know there's a lot of Houstonians out there, that NAM was going to start an online auction. They were going to start doing eBay. I never did find them, but a friend of mine actually called me to tell me that she thought it was, you know, really important that I know that they were going to start doing this. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'll that's good to know or whatever. But I didn't really worry about it too much, because I know things still fall through the cracks. I know that there's still brands that not everybody knows about. There's jewelry that's thrown in with the junk jewelry, and you can still find it. Even recently, I've heard from this Goodwill that they are no longer. She said if you find something that was donated in the pocket, let's say there's a watch in a man's jacket and you happen to discover it, they're obliged to sell it to you as is. If it's not part of their Goodwill merchandise already and tagged, and it was donated that way, that they can give it to you. That's what happened with that little box, that little Brighton box. It was full of jewelry, and only one of them was fairly valuable, sterling silver, and a little brooch. But I showed it to her because I didn't want her to think that I had just piled a bunch of jewelry in there. She said, oh no, you can have that. The main point really is that no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. I don't hold it against a charity shop or a Goodwill or a Salvation Army to make money from their items. I think that's what they're there for. And if we can make money with their items, all the better for all of us. And they do help people. I really hate to hear all the bashing about how much the CEOs make and whatnot. I'm not sitting with the CEO. I don't know what work he does. I can't determine whether he deserves his pay or not. I really can't. I can't judge that. So I can't go there. I can't. And I know I know firsthand because I've worked in a community center. I've worked as a not a community organizer, but I worked in a community center where it was a housing project, and I was sort of a social worker there, not licensed or anything, but I saw many charities step up and feed and clothe and employ people that needed it, and they got to get the money from somewhere, and if somebody's volunteering their time, and if somebody is donating items and then they're making money to help others, I really think they do help others, and I really think that they do use the money wisely. And I just don't think that there's only going to be one Burberry coat. Speaking of Burberry, I found a really nice Burberry cap, and I gave it to my friend's brother who sings in a band, Los Cardenales. Margaret and I have that mutual acquaintance, and I gave it to him because he likes to sport retro clothing, and this was kind of a vintage Burberry, so I gave it to him. But you find things like that, and there's always going to be treasures there. That's why we love what we do, because we know we're going to find something. We always do. All right, so that was that. Then I just got asked another question about whether I use a selfie stick when I do the ride-alongs and things at garage sales and charity shops. And no, I do not use a selfie stick. I have not even bought a selfie stick to take a picture. I should. I don't know how I would feel. How does that feel when I don't know. I'd have to get used to it. I don't know if I can do it. But I'm just now learning how to use my camera without being too obvious. And so I'm sticking with that for now, my phone camera. And, okay. Are the books on sale too? Well, how much were they? I'm sorry. I know that one was $1, but I don't see that one.
That's $1.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Those fur coats are priced accordingly, aren't they? $4.50, $6.50. Oh, can I see that green handbag? Let's see what brand that is. It's pretty nice though. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the Q&A here in my garage. I just got back. It took me an hour and a half to get back. That you came back for another Q&A. I had to rush to go to a dinner party with my daughters, and I just wanted to wrap it up, and thank you so much for posting questions. Please pose more questions. I will have another Q&A as soon as I get enough questions to answer. I think I only had like 3 this time, but I decided to hurry up and get to that thrift store before the traffic got really bad, but that was a mistake because it got really bad anyway. So I rushed home in traffic, and it took me a while, so I didn't get to say goodbye, but thank you so much. I hope I addressed all your questions as thoroughly as you anticipated, and I hope that you pose more questions. Please do so. Please answer other people's questions. If you think you have a better answer than I do, please, let's have a little bit of a give and take. And again, post more questions here on the Q&A, and I'll come back with one in a week. I appreciate all your questions. Please pose more, and I look forward to seeing you for another video. Please stay tuned for some hauls that I have coming up very, very soon. All right, so I'll talk to you later. Have a great one. Bye.